Hello, and welcome to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector or just someone who's interested in rare and valuable coins, you're in for a treat today. In this video, we're going to explore the fascinating world of the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has a history worth knowing and a value that might surprise you. While many of these quarters are fairly common and worth only a small amount, some of them have sold for an astonishing $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. So, let's dive into why the 1967 Washington quarter is so special, what makes it valuable, and how you can potentially spot one that's worth a small fortune. Segment 1. A brief history of the Washington quarter dollar. Before we get into the details of the 1967 Washington quarter's value, let's take a quick look at the history behind the coin. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin features a profile of Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and a design of an eagle on the reverse. The Washington quarter quickly became one of the most iconic and widely recognized coins in U.S. history. Over the years, the design has remained relatively consistent, though there have been changes in the reverse design and some special commemorative issues. For example, in the 1990s, the 50-state quarters program was introduced, and in the 2010s, the America the Beautiful quarters program began. The 1967 Washington quarter, however, is significant for its place in time. This was the year that marked the peak of silver coin production in the United States. It's important to note that pre-1965 quarters were made from 90% silver, which made them much more valuable than the quarters minted after 1964, which switched to a copper-nickel alloy. The 1967 quarter, however, wasn't produced as part of the regular circulation. Most of the quarters struck in 1967 were used for standard circulation, but it was also a time when coin collectors were focusing on special editions and error coins that would add unique value to their collections. Segment 2. The 1967 Washington quarter and its value. Now that we've covered the history of the Washington quarter, let's talk about the value of the 1967 quarter itself. Like many coins, the 1967 Washington quarter is worth its face value of 25 cents when it's in circulation or in typical condition. However, collectors are especially interested in certain types of coins that are rarer, have unique minting errors, or are in extraordinary condition. One key factor that has made the 1967 Washington quarter worth so much money is its silver content. The 1967 Washington quarter is made of 40% silver, as the U.S. government gradually began reducing silver content in coins due to the rising costs of silver. Though it's not as valuable as pre-1965 quarters made of 90% silver, the 1967 quarter is still sought after by collectors because of its precious metal content. But the $1.8 million price tag for the 1967 Washington quarter didn't come from a typical mint-issue coin. No, this incredible sale happened because of a rare error that occurred during the minting process. Segment 3. The 1967 Washington quarter that sold for $1.8 million. You might be wondering how in the world a coin that's worth 25 cents can end up selling for $1.8 million. Well, the key to this massive sale lies in minting errors. Minting errors happen when the U.S. Mint makes a mistake during the coin's production process. These errors can make a coin much rarer and, therefore, more valuable to collectors. In 2021, a 1967 Washington quarter with an incredibly rare minting error was sold at auction for a record-breaking $1.8 million. This particular coin had an overstruck double-die error, which caused the design to be doubled in certain places. This is an extremely rare type of error and occurs when the coin is struck more than once in the same location, causing the images to overlap. The result was a striking double design, with clear signs of misalignment that made this coin incredibly desirable to collectors. Coins with double-die errors are some of the most valuable error coins because they are visually distinctive, and they are often one-of-a-kind pieces. The 1967 Washington quarter with this double-die error became so valuable because of how rare the mistake was, combined with its historical significance and silver content. Segment 4. How to spot valuable error coins. If you're wondering whether you might have a valuable coin, especially a 1967 Washington quarter with a minting error, here are a few things to look for. Double die errors. As mentioned earlier, this occurs when a coin is struck more than once in the same location, causing the design to appear doubled. This is usually most noticeable around the lettering or numbers. If you spot any doubling in the design, it's worth checking with a professional to confirm if it's a true error. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the coin isn't aligned properly in the minting machine, causing part of the design to be cut off on one side. This kind of error can be subtle but is still considered valuable by collectors. Die cracks and breaks. Over time, the dies used to strike coins can develop cracks or breaks. These cracks can leave distinctive marks on coins, and coins with noticeable die cracks can be worth more due to their uniqueness. Misaligned dies. Sometimes, the dies used to strike the coins become misaligned, causing part of the design to be shifted or incomplete. This type of error is less common, but it can make a coin far more valuable if the misalignment is noticeable. Capped die errors. A capped die error happens when the die used to strike the coin becomes damaged, and a small piece of metal attaches to the die. When this happens, it can cause a raised rim or other noticeable marks on the coin's design. If you find a 1967 Washington quarter, or any other coin, with these types of errors, it could be worth having it appraised by a professional coin grader. Segment 5. How to have your coins appraised. If you think you found a rare and valuable 1967 Washington quarter or any other potentially valuable coin, here are a few steps to take to determine its worth. Get a professional grader. Professional coin graders like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or a professional coin grading service, PCGS, can help assess the coin's quality, authenticity, and value. They'll assign a grade to your coin, which will affect its market value. Consult with reputable dealers. It's always a good idea to work with reputable dealers who specialize in rare coins. They can help you identify any potential errors and give you a fair idea of the coin's worth. Stay informed. The world of coin collecting is constantly changing. Prices for coins can fluctuate depending on demand, rarity, and condition. Keep an eye on auction sites, online coin marketplaces, and numismatic news outlets to stay up to date on current market values. Attend coin shows. Coin shows are excellent places to meet experienced collectors, dealers, and appraisers. You can learn more about your coins and even get a chance to sell or trade them if you decide to do so. Conclusion. The 1967 Washington quarter may seem like a common coin at first glance, but as we've seen today, it can actually hold incredible value under the right circumstances. With its silver content, historical significance, and the potential for rare minting errors like the double die error that sold for $1.8 million, this coin is far more than just pocket change. So, before you toss your 1967 quarters into your spare change jar, take a closer look. You might just be holding a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more coin-related content, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Have you found any rare coins? Share your stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Outro. Hey there, coin collectors and enthusiasts, welcome back to the channel. If you're interested in rare coins and their incredible value, you've tuned into the right video. Rarest coins. Today, we're going to explore a coin that you might come across in your pocket change at the 1993 Washington quarter. You might be surprised to learn that a certain version of this coin could be worth as much as $1.1 million. Yes, that's right, $1.1 million. Stick around as we dive into the history of the 1993 Washington quarter, the rare error that makes it so valuable, and how you can spot one of these coins if you happen to find it. Let's get started. The history of the 1993 Washington quarter. To start off, let's look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, created by artist John Flanagan, features a portrait of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. Over the years, the Washington quarter became one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. By 1993, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 60 years. The 1993 quarter, specifically, was minted as the Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark. This coin was produced as part of the regular issue for use in everyday transactions. The design remained largely the same, with Washington's profile on the front and the eagle on the back, symbolizing the strength and resilience of the United States. However, while the 1993 Washington quarter seems like a regular coin, a rarer version of this coin has become highly valuable. These rarer coins are a key part of why some 1993 quarters have sold for up to $1.1 million in recent years. So, let's take a closer look at what makes the 1993 quarter so valuable and how it can be worth such an extraordinary amount of money. The rare error behind the 1993 Washington quarter, the coin error that makes the 1993 Washington quarter so valuable, is called a double die error. But what exactly is a double die? A double die occurs when the coin die at the metal die used to strike the design onto the coin A is misaligned during the minting process. As a result, the design is struck onto the coin more than once, with the second strike being slightly off-center. This causes the design to appear doubled or ghosted, creating a distinctive double image effect on certain parts of the coin. In the case of the 1993 Washington quarter, the most noticeable doubling appears in the date, the word Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." The doubling effect can range from subtle to dramatic, with the most valuable examples showing very pronounced and clear doubling in these areas. If you closely examine a 1993 quarter and spot doubling A, especially in the numbers of the date or the letters of Liberty and "In God We Trust," you may have found one of the rare and highly sought-after error coins. While the 1993 double die error is rare, it isn't the only factor that makes these coins valuable. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. A coin that is well preserved, with sharp details and little to no wear, can fetch a much higher price than a worn or damaged coin. As with many error coins, the more pristine the condition and the more pronounced the doubling, the higher the price will be. Why some 1993 Washington quarters are worth $1.1 million. So, why are some 1993 Washington quarters worth such an extraordinary amount of money? The answer lies in their rarity and a high demand from collectors. First, the 1993 double die Washington quarter is an extremely rare coin. Not every 1993 quarter features the double die error, and even among those that do, not all of them have the bold doubling that makes the coin so valuable. Only a small number of these error coins exist, and they were produced during a very specific minting process. Because of this rarity, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a well-preserved example. Second, the 1993 quarter error is highly sought after by collectors, especially those who specialize in error coins. Error coins are prized for their uniqueness, and the 1993 Washington quarter with clear, bold doubling is one of the most desirable coins among numismatists. The more dramatic the doubling and the better the coin's condition, the higher the price it can command at auction. The highest grade 1993 double die Washington quarters have been known to fetch over $1 million at auctions. Some coins, with near-perfect condition and strikingly visible doubling, have sold for as much as $1.1 million. These sales highlight just how valuable this rare error coin can be, and why collectors are willing to pay such premium prices. How to spot a valuable 1993 Washington quarter. If you think you've found a 1993 Washington quarter and wonder whether it's the valuable double die error, there are a few key features to look for. 1. Examine the date. The most obvious place to look for doubling is in the year 1993. Pay close attention to the 9, 3, and 9. In some cases, you may notice a second set of outlines of these numbers, which is a clear sign of a double die error. The more noticeable the doubling, the more valuable the coin. 2. Check the word Liberty. The word Liberty above George Washington's head is another area where doubling can appear. Look closely at the letters, especially the L and T, as they tend to show the most significant doubling. If you see a faint shadow or ghosting next to the original letters, you may have found an error coin. 3. Look for doubling and "In God We Trust." The phrase "In God We Trust" is also a common area where doubling is visible. Look for a second set of outlines on the letters, particularly the T and R. The doubling in this area can be subtle, so you'll need to inspect it carefully to spot it. 4. Examine the coin's condition. As with any rare coin, the condition of the coin is crucial in determining its value. A 1993D double die Washington quarter in excellent condition, with sharp details and no wear, is going to be worth much more than a coin that is heavily worn or scratched. The more pristine the coin, the higher its potential value. 5. Use magnification. Sometimes, the doubling can be subtle, especially if the coin is worn or lightly struck. Using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help you get a closer look at the coin and make it easier to spot the doubling. 6. Have it graded. If you think you've found a 1993D Washington quarter with a double die error, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC will assess the condition of the coin and provide an official grade, which can help you determine its value. A higher grade will increase the coin's market value significantly. How much is your 1993D Washington quarter worth? If you have a standard 1993D Washington quarter without the double die error, it will likely be worth only its face value of 25 cents. However, if your coin has the error, the value can range anywhere from several $100s to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the extent of the doubling and the condition of the coin. The highest quality 1993D double die Washington quarters are those with bold, clearly visible doubling and excellent condition. Can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The most expensive examples of those coins have sold for over $1 million, and some have even reached up to $1.1 million at auction. The value can vary based on the market demand and the condition of the coin, but one thing is clear: this is a coin that's worth looking out for. Conclusion: the 1993D Washington quarter might look like just another typical quarter, but if you find one with the double die error, you could be holding onto a rare treasure worth up to $1.1 million. The rarity of this error, combined with its demand among collectors, makes it one of the most valuable coins to find in circulation. If you think you have one of those error coins, make sure to examine it carefully for doubling, assess its condition, and consider having it professionally graded. You could be sitting on a small fortune. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting content on rare coins, their history, and their incredible values. Share this video with anyone you know who loves coin collecting, and stay tuned for more tips on finding and valuing rare coins. Outro. Have you ever come across a 1993D Washington quarter with a double die error, or do you have other rare coins in your collection? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your discoveries. Until next time, happy collecting. Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to dive into one of the most interesting coins that might be sitting right in your pocket: the 1997p Washington quarter dollar. While it may seem like just another common coin, there's more to this quarter than meets the eye. Some 1997p Washington quarters have been known to sell for an incredible $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million. So, how did this happen, and what makes these quarters so special? Stay tuned as we explore the history, value, and potential of the 1997p Washington quarter. Segment 1. A brief history of the Washington quarter. Before we get into the value of the 1997p Washington quarter, let's take a quick look at the history of the coin itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by John Flanagan, featuring a profile of Washington on the obverse, and an eagle on the reverse. This iconic image has remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. Over the years, the Washington quarter has undergone some design changes, most notably with the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999 and the America the Beautiful quarters in 2010. However, the basic design featuring George Washington has remained a staple of U.S. currency for almost 100 years. Now, let's fast forward to the 1997 version of the coin. This coin was part of the regular issue for that year and was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it's marked with the P Mint mark. The 1997 Washington quarter wasn't anything particularly special in terms of design or rarity, but the series of rare and valuable coins were about to emerge from this mintage. Segment 2, the value of the 1997 Washington quarter. For the most part, the 1997 Washington quarter is worth only face value at 25 cents. After all, this coin was produced in large quantities, and there's nothing about its design or production that would make it stand out in most collections. But here's where things get interesting. In the world of numismatics, even a seemingly ordinary coin like the 1997 Washington quarter can skyrocket in value under the right conditions. Now, why would a regular quarter from 1997 be worth a small fortune? Well, the answer lies in the concept of minting errors. Minting errors are mistakes made during the production process, and these errors can significantly increase the value of coin. Some of these errors are so rare and unusual that they're worth a lot of money to collectors. One such error occurred with a particular 1997 Washington quarter. This coin became famous when it was sold for a staggering $1.3 million at an auction in 2020. So, what made this specific quarter worth such an astronomical amount? Segment 3, the $1.3 million coin. What happened? The quarter that sold for $1.3 million wasn't just any 1997 Washington quarter. It was a double strike error coin. This means that the coin was struck twice by the minting dies, resulting in a distorted, off-center image. In this particular case, the second strike was slightly offset from the first, which gave the coin a unique and unmistakable appearance. Coins with double strike errors are extremely rare, and when they do happen, they can significantly increase a coin's value. While most coins that experience this type of error are not nearly as valuable, this particular 1997 Washington quarter was in excellent condition and caught the eye of collectors, leading to the incredible $1.3 million sale price. So, while you may not have a coin worth $1.3 million just sitting in your collection, it's still worth checking your quarters for any signs of minting errors. After all, you never know when you might stumble upon a rare gem. Segment 4, how to spot valuable errors in coins. Now that we know how a minting error can transform a coin from ordinary to extraordinary, you might be wondering how to spot such valuable errors in your own collection. The good news is that errors are often visible to the naked eye, though they can sometimes be subtle. Here are some of the most common minting errors to look out for. 1. Double strikes. As mentioned earlier, a double strike occurs when a coin is struck twice by the dies. The second strike is often misaligned, creating a double image on the coin. Look for any coins that seem to have overlapping designs or multiple impressions of the same image. 2. Off-center strikes. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the die during minting. An off-center coin will have part of the design cut off, leaving an uneven border around the edges. 3. Die cracks. Die cracks occur when the minting die develops cracks, which can then appear on the coin's design. These cracks can sometimes form in interesting places, adding a unique touch to the coin and increasing its value. 4. Capped die errors. This happens when a die becomes damaged and begins to cap over the coin, leading to an unusual raised edge or distorted design. If you have any quarters from the 1990s, It's worth carefully inspecting them for these types of errors. You might just find a rare, valuable coin in your pocket change. Segment 5. Other Washington quarters worth big money. While the 1997p Washington quarter with the double strike error is one of the most famous examples of a valuable Washington quarter, it's not the only one. Over the years, several other Washington quarters have fetched impressive sums at auctions. For example, quarters from earlier years, especially those minted before 1964, contain silver and can be worth much more than face value based on their metal content. There are also certain rare varieties, such as quarters with low mintage numbers or special commemorative editions, that can command high prices. For example, some of the proof versions of Washington quarters, which are specially made for collectors, can sell for thousands of dollars, depending on their condition and rarity. So, while the 1997p quarter with the double strike error might be an extreme case, it's clear that Washington quarters can hold significant value if they possess certain characteristics. Segment 6. How to get your coins appraised. If you suspect that you have a valuable Washington quarter or any other rare coin, the next step is to get it appraised. Here are a few tips for getting your coin evaluated. 1. Visit a professional coin grader. Professional coin graders, such as those at the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, can assess your coin's condition, authenticity, and value. They will assign a grade to your coin, which will help determine its worth in the marketplace. 2. Use trusted dealers. Work with reputable coin dealers who can help you evaluate your collection and guide you through the process of buying or selling valuable coins. 3. Stay informed. Keep up with the latest news and trends in coin collecting. There are plenty of resources online, including numismatic websites and forums, where collectors share information and discuss valuable coins. Conclusion. So, there you have it. The 1997p Washington quarter may seem like just another coin, but thanks to rare minting errors like the double strike, some of these quarters have sold for jaw-dropping amounts, like $1.3 million. While it's not common to find a coin worth that much, it's always worth checking your change in your collection for any potential treasures. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos on rare coins and their surprising values. And feel free to share any interesting coin finds you've come across in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Outro.